meantime, I stopped seeing Mizuhara completely.
Bro, you say that like it's shocking, but it's pretty obvious. I mean, think about it. If you have a girlfriend now, you don't need her for company, and she was never that keen to stay with you in the first place. I mean, I don't really get how a guy can get everything he wants and still be complaining. Well, I mean, technically I kinda do, because, you know, the girlfriend he got is fucking insane, but not particularly in this episode, and furthermore, that's not why he's even complaining about this.
This doesn't feel like a relationship. It's more like a job.
It's so insane, because this scene does actually a really good job at setting up some of the negatives of those two's relationship, and despite what the rest of the show does, in and of itself, this episode does do a good job of showing the positives and negatives of Kazuya and Ruka dating.
Gives me zero bragging rights with the other guys.
You say this like you could have ever shown her off in the first place. I mean, firstly, they already think you're going out with Chizuru, which is a massive issue if you wanted to show off Ruka. And two, is the fact that you couldn't show her off to your friends, because you know one of your friends is Curry, and he would likely get pretty pissed, or at least a little bit weirded out by the fact that you're dating a rental he pretended was his girlfriend.
Plus, it comes with the constant fear of having my relationship with Mizuhara revealed.
Also, how is that a constant fear? Are you saying you're constantly fearing if you mess this relationship with Ruka up, she won't uphold her end of the deal? Or is this the show forgetting that the terms of them deciding to go out were Kazuya goes out with Ruka if she doesn't spill, so obviously she wouldn't spill as long as they're still dating?
Have I made a deal with the devil? No ordinary girlfriend could be this scary.
That all being said, this entire sequence is just insanely well delivered by Alex. He is absolutely smoking it.
And after Mizuhara gave me that talk about how important love is, how could she just turn around and tell me to go out with Ruka?
You know, I 100% agree with you that it was scummy and utterly unjustified, but you should at least know the reason she gave, paper thin as it was that she didn't want anyone else knowing about her job, so she told you to go out with Ruka so that Curry wouldn't have to know. That said, I agree with his right to complain, since it was a selfish move on her part, but the fact that he just completely misrepresents this is either a continuity error or the show not knowing how fallacious arguments work, and that they're not good arguments.
Is Mizuhara
listening? Yeah, I thought so. Oh, you meant the shower. Oh yeah, perfectly logical. Although, jokes aside, do you think Kazuya is aware of the fact that Chizuru can obviously hear him through the wall, considering that this isn't dialogue he would need to hide from her? I would assume yes, but on the other hand, the rest of the show indicates to me that this man never knows when people can hear him, except in Season 2, Episode 4, where he clearly comprehends the whole shared wall thing. But more on that later, I suppose.
between me and Ruka? Because right now, my college life is on a one-way trip to nowhere.
So this isn't Ruka's fault, like, objectively. You have had these issues debatably since Mami, but especially since Chizuru. Since all you do is think about dates and relationships, nothing about your college life. And this is the thing with Kazuya in the show, is he is shown to be a very immature person, but is never given a proper arc. So this level of immaturity is basically framed as a fine trait to have, which is just wrong, especially at university.
Please, Ruka, let's try to keep Kuri from finding out about us.
Well, I guess after he found out that Ruka was a rental, he decided that he could just disregard all the advice Kuri gave him about being more of a man. And I am by no means a alpha/sigma, whatever you want to call it, male. But my god, bro, you don't always have to go on your hands and knees to ask anything of anyone. You can sometimes make basic requests. Well, you know, standing up. Like, the fact he feels the need to do this either shows how toxic their relationship is already, or shows how much of a pussy he is. Neither of which are good things to show.
Come on, there's no way we're gonna keep this secret hidden forever.
I agree with that, actually, since obviously they are going on weekly dates as shown at the start, so at some point someone from the university will see them together, and besides that, considering how actively the two are texting each other, at some point one of the guys would likely catch him texting her and ask questions. So I do agree that it's a pointless endeavor to try and keep it hidden, which shows the improvement of Ruka in this episode, in that her dialogue goes from vomit-inducing to pretty good. Shame that they most certainly do not keep that up for the rest of this season, and for the rest of the show as well.
I guess I see what you mean. And I did agree to a trial run in the first place. I don't want to put you on the spot, so I'll stay away from the college.
And holy shit, are you hearing this? This is how you can tell Rook is just completely different in this episode. Because last episode, she was just blackmailing Kazuya and didn't really seem to understand his boundaries. You know, the whole chasing him down the road and tackling him and all that shit. But here, she just is told to have a basic boundary in the relationship and just goes, alright then. Like, that's pretty good, and it makes me happy that they did a bit of inconsistent characterization here. Shame they don't maintain it, like, even in the next episode. So if Chizuru can hear the two of them from all the way up here, then isn't the whole exercise to keep Kuri from finding out utterly pointless, since he could be a massive distance from the two of them and still hear this? And besides that, you'd think Kazuya chose the spot because it would be hard for people on campus to hear them, but apparently either the show once again forgot how sound works, or Kazuya's an idiot, or Chizuru has the hearing senses of which the world has never seen. Who the fuck knows? But I do know that they didn't need to include the sound when they cut over to her. She can still just be watching this, which makes it look stupid, but certainly less stupid than her fucking hearing this.
Oh, come on, Kazuya.
Another problem with this shot is that it showed none of Chizuru's friends, not even the edge, or showed them in the reflection to hint about them being there. Just Chizuru, to try and make this a reveal for some fucking reason. Like, wouldn't it be better if we saw them in the reflection while she was watching Kazuya and Ruka? Because that would show that they're there, but that Chizuru isn't focused, which is the point of this. The way they do it here just makes it so much less impactful, which again shows the show just really not caring about what its scenes are actually doing.
But let us know if something juicy happens, okay? Guys!
Also, another one of my favorite deliveries from Lizzie. Why is the hell is some of the best voice acting in the worst episodes? So, a couple things. He said Christmas trip, so here's the big question we all want the answer to. What the hell happens if they end up running into each other? Like, what if she walks past him on the street, or just happens to pass his house as he comes home, or a million other instances that could catch him? But even if by trip he meant meet-up, that still doesn't excuse it, because again, what if Ruka runs into him at some point on Christmas? Is he gonna hide out from her in his apartment and nut all day? And number two, why can't he just honestly tell her, hey, I don't want to spend Christmas with you? She seemed pretty open to him suggesting boundaries last time, so I don't see why he can't just do that again.
This can't go all the way to Christmas, or she'll get the wrong idea for sure.
As well, this is a stupid comment he makes over and over in this show, which does get on my nerves, but also he is aware that if this doesn't go past Christmas, she could spill the beans about him and Chizuru, and furthermore, it makes the least sense here than anywhere else, since Ruka here isn't even trying to compete with any other girl, so obviously she wouldn't really do much more just because their relationship went past Christmas, so what his point here is truly baffles the mind.
Are these goofball texts from Kibe?
Start off, this is a pretty serious continuity error, because he stated in episode 1 that he took a gap year, meaning he likely already had university entrance by this point, since he's never stated what he actually did on his gap year, and we know he went to the beach during that time because it was a year prior, meaning that he was probably still in Japan when it occurred. So why was he studying for any exams if he already had university entrance and wasn't at university? As well, though.
Look, okay, I know it makes more sense for it to be Kibe, because they've been friends way longer and are shown to be closer, but it would be a better character moment to have it be Kuri, since Kazuya is so focused on his well-being right now. It would be good to show what Kuri did for Kazuya, to show why he cares about him, and the fact that they don't makes this internal conflict being more centered around Kuri seeming completely bizarre, when they could center it around, you know, the blackmail.
I'll just book a date with her right now and...
Sorry, what's the plan if Ruka catches you, man? Like, she won't leave you or anything, but what if she spills the beans on your relationship to try and force you to be with her? Like, that is a pretty stupid move to pull after you said you were going on a Christmas trip with family.
Obviously. Figures I'm not the only guy who likes her.
No one said that, my man. Most people who would book her now would just want to spend time with a good-looking girl around Christmas because they weren't able to get a girlfriend, but no one ever said anything about them all liking her just because they rent her out. That's not what this business model is designed for, and while I'm sure the agency expects some boys to fall for rentals, certainly they don't expect all of them to.
Sucks though. Looks like I'll be right here, spending another Christmas alone.
Dude, you can't just send away the only person who wanted to spend Christmas with you and then complain that you'll be spending another Christmas alone. I get that he wants to put some distance between himself and Ruka, but like, would you rather put some distance or be alone? You can't have both, and the fact that the show is trying to have him have both makes no sense.
Nobody's fault but mine.
Well, I'm glad he acknowledged it. Shows a bit of financial intelligence. Unfortunately, this is the last time in this episode Kazuya will ever have the word intelligence in a sentence with him, unless accompanied by the words lack of.
I need to find work.
No shit, bro. You'd think you would have worked that out after episode 1, but even if you didn't, you'd think you'd rent her out after that, and you'd realize in, say, episode 2, episode 3, 4, 5... Like, who the hell spends a massive amount of money on a service with no job for 6 months and then goes, hey, you know what? I might want to get some income.
It's Mizuhara!
Also, it is pretty fucking contrived. He just happens to run into Chizuru right now to see her with Umi. And this pisses me off more than most, since if it weren't for this shit, then this episode wouldn't have happened, and my life would be infinitely better. Like, this is so stupid. He is half hiding behind a tree to check out Chizuru. Like, she can still see you, bro. So you'll actually look less suspicious if you just walk up the street and watch instead of standing behind a tree, because the fact that you're hiding indicates that you don't want her to see you, which gives the wrong impression. Whereas if you walk down the street, then if she sees you, she'll just assume you were doing something else and started gawking, which is pretty standard for you.
Am I hiding?
What do you mean, bro? You saw she was booked! Like, I know you've never seen her on a date with another client, but guess what? That's the point of the business, my man. And to be clear, I know people are going to point this out, it's not actually made clear whether or not Umi made a booking, but the fact that he saw that she was booked should indicate to him that she was booked. Like, you're the one who's stalking, so you get the punishment of seeing what her other clients look like. I don't know why I'm supposed to be sympathetic toward him here.
But it's so hard not to watch.
I'm sorry, what? Is this supposed to be a relatable line? Like, there are guys who stare at girls and we call them normal, but there is a reason stalker is a derogatory term, and that's because stalking women is not considered normal. It is in fact considered really fucked up and weird. Like, who the hell wrote this line and thought, oh yeah, everyone will relate to this. Of course, everyone loves stalking, it's so common!
Hard to believe a good-looking dude like that has to book a rental girlfriend, though.
A feeling? What feeling? Maybe your fucking morality, your ethics. Because stalking is fucking wrong and illegal. Like, it's getting to the point where I'm fully convinced the writers have lines like, I have a bad feeling, or he doesn't understand, like, mandated by the producer, who just makes them shove it in no matter how badly they fit, because they are not only used more than they should be, but they are always used so horribly.
Hard to believe a good-looking dude like that has to book a rental girlfriend, though.
Okay, now Kazuya has upgraded to checking out Chizuru's dates. Cool, this is completely normal behavior when you see someone you know walking down the street. I did it last Friday.
I should definitely leave them alone.
Well done, you have passed the most basic human being test. Good job, Kazuya. I'm just kidding, of course he fucking hasn't. Because why would he be a basic person? And why would he get punished for that? More on that later.
I don't know why, but right then, this overwhelming feeling of dread crept into my mind.
Was it the realization that Chizuru could still see you behind the tree? No, of course it wasn't. It was a stupid idea that she was dating someone. And I guess it could make sense on some tiny level, since that would be where she could have been getting all the relationship advice she's been feeding him. But not really, because the issue is that Chizuru would have had to hide it from her grandmother, since obviously if Chizuru had a boyfriend that she introduced to her grandmother before, then her grandmother would have been confused when she was told that she was also dating Kazuya, and if she tried to introduce Umi later, then that would also raise tons of questions. And if they started dating recently and Chizuru is committed to making him her real boyfriend, then Kazuya's just gone burger. So in no way would he ever want to be around here with that conclusion, and it's not even a logical conclusion to come to. So what the hell is the point of this? This is not a good justification.
Is that her boyfriend?
Bro, you saw today was booked. You saw it on the agency list. She was booked. Like, if she told you that day she couldn't see you because she was busy, and then you saw the two of them, this logic would make more sense. But the fact you saw it booked out for this time clearly shows you that she's probably been, booked. And while I'll admit, again, that Umi isn't necessarily shown to have booked, he should just come to this conclusion naturally. And the fact that they use this as their justification for him stalking her is some bullshit. Furthermore, why does he even care? She will still go on dates with him when he books, and he still gets the perfect girlfriend treatment on those dates, and he can even get to show her off to the guys. He never thought he had a chance anyway. With this guy in his way, his chances went from 0 to 0.0.
Whoever said a rental girlfriend couldn't have a boyfriend?
I mean, no one has said that specific statement yet, but the main and most glaring issue is that 1, when Ruka started dating you, you gave up her rental work. 2, Chizuru pointed out all the issues with seeing potential clients off the clock. And 3, if they were dating, then she couldn't see him at her place or go to his, since the issue is that there are rules against potential clients seeing rentals both at their own place and the home of the potential or present client. So obviously if she has a boyfriend, it means she is gonna quit. And if she isn't gonna quit, then she can't have a boyfriend. Use your brain for like 5 seconds.
Let's face it, I know nothing about Mizuhara's personal life, so there's every chance they've been dating in secret.
I don't really get why he is so concerned by this. Is he finally realizing that he has a parasocial relationship with this girl because, he's been interacting with her in her professional life mostly? Like, he doesn't know where her parents are. Her grandfather, we know they're dead, but he doesn't. Where she grew up, what her dreams are, what she's studying. Like, of course this is a possibility, but it will not hurt you personally at all. And more importantly, it isn't a possibility because of all the employment laws that have been spouted directly to this man. I love the fact that even the animators seem to realize how fucking obvious and weird Kazi is being right now, considering they have Umi just looking at him curled up in a ball as he walks off. Like, how do the animators or no one else say to the writers, hey, this setup for his mental breakdown, it's fucking stupid, fam.
Mostly played futsal.
That sounds cool. I'd like to try.
There it is!
And now the stalking begins. I know you're into her, but you still have her essentially held captive in your net of lies. Now granted, that is partially due to her own lack of desire to get out of it. Like, what is your goal? What is your plan? To get arrested? Beat up? Like, you do realize that stalking her will definitely not help you in any way, except learning things about this relationship, which scares you to your very core. So I would love to know why you want to know more about it. And if that guy is your boyfriend, he might kick your ass. They might at the same time. They might call the cops on you. There is nothing to be gained, and there is everything to be lost.
So his name's Umi. Sounds like a nerd.
Dude, I don't really think you have the pinnacle of cool names, sorry to break it to you. And besides that, can someone enlighten me as to why the name Umi sounds like a nerd name? I don't actually get it. And look, he's probably just trying to come up with stupid insults, but like, considering he's already stalking, his insults really should at least be logical, considering we're not exactly on his side right now.
Peeping Tom.
Oh, so even the writers know that Kazuya sucks at hiding. How did no one call the cops on this asshole? Are there no cops or laws in the show? And more importantly to me, if the writers knew how fucking terrible this setup was, why the flying fuck did they go ahead with it anyway?
After all, it'd be awfully phony of her to act all cozy with her clients while having an actual boyfriend in real life.
You're right, it would be awfully phony of her. Almost like this is a business dealing in fake relationships or something. Also, what guy would date a girl whose job it is to date boys? Like, firstly, you would feel like you're under so much pressure to do everything right, and also nothing you got out of her would feel real, because it would just be part of her routine. But none of this crosses his mind, because the show just can't write an intelligent character, and they put him in the dumbest setup ever.
Mizuhara really betrays all like that? Her faithful clients?
Dude, that is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. The reason you rent Chizuru is for her service, but some random you don't know dating her for real would somehow ruin the service?
So, it's clear this business model is thoroughly confusing you when it comes to your comprehension, so how about we use a different example? So, say you go to a fast food joint a lot, and you get the food from the same person, and you really like it, so you keep going there, and then you see that person cook a dinner for a friend. Have they betrayed you? No, because your relationship was purely transactional, whereas this one is a real one. You get it? Just because her job centers around this as a service does not mean that she cannot provide it unpaid to someone else. Unless it is explicitly stated to be against the employment contract, something the show itself barely explores, and he certainly never brings up a single time in this episode, despite it being a much better way of arguing this perspective than the bullshit he chooses.
This is for the bros!
Did he really just psych himself up to stalk someone with a vision in his head? Not only is that lame, they don't even only do it one time.
A movie? Nothing trite about that idea. He's totally ordinary.
I mean, I like how the subtitles rip on him for that, but seriously, why would you think he needs to be reinventing the wheel? And besides, I love how he rips on the idea of taking her to the movies here, and in 2 seasons he'll be calling himself a genius for it. Like, who the hell wrote this?
Why would anyone pay to rent her out and then just watch a movie for 2 hours, though?
I mean, some people might want to simulate the experience of taking around the town for a few hours, but some might want to simulate a movie date, either for practice or wish fulfillment. It's a stereotypical date spot. Like, in the end, you spend the same amount of time with her, so it's just about how you want to spend it. That's called a service that's customizable to personal preference, big man. For a guy who's supposed to be fighting for all her clients, you seem to be gatekeeping what they do pretty hard right now. And also, you think you learn about this in goddamn business class.
That was too deep for me. Who was even the bad guy in the end?
To be fair for a minute, that is the reaction a lot of people have to their first art film, so I won't knock him for it, but I will knock him for yelling at Chizuru's movie taste when he didn't even have to go here. If he had just come to the obvious conclusion that stalking is a criminal act and he shouldn't do it, he wouldn't have had to see that, so he should really just shut up and stop complaining.
Oh, I could watch it again right now.
Well, aren't they just having a jolly old time?
Okay, couple things. One, hearing that conversation is on you because you were stalking them. No one told you to. Listen to all that. That's all your fault. And 2, that's the beauty of people having shared interests. It tends to make a more stable relationship than when the only thing you have to talk about is your family and keeping your secrets hidden.
Now they're getting cozy.
Dude, for the love of God, just leave them alone. This isn't going to make your day any better, and you've proven conclusively that it will make it worse. Like, you have a girlfriend, so you'd think that her having a boyfriend would make your continued attempts to spend time with her make more sense. But no, he has to just stay because, well, I don't know. I don't hate myself enough to cook up a reason why you do this.
We're really on the same wave.
Also, this is such a stupid line, because of course they would do things they both have an interest in on Christmas, because neither of them want to have an unenjoyable Christmas, unlike you. So, of course it comes off like they're on the same wavelength, you moron. This is why you don't stalk people and make character judgments off of your limited evidence.
Wow, she says it looks perfect.
What's perfect? The compatibility?
Okay, firstly, compatibility is not something with an appearance because it's intangible, and therefore it's highly unlikely that's what she's seeing. And secondly, fortune tellers at malls don't generally make judgments that specific because their aim is to make people believe them. So if they say you are compatible with this specific person, and they are wrong, they look stupid and inaccurate. How does Kazuya not get this? He's not only doing all the stalking, but he's even being a moron!
They're buying gifts for each other.
Dude, for the love of God, just leave them alone. This isn't going to make your day any better, and you've proven conclusively that it will make it worse. Like, you have a girlfriend, so you'd think that her having a boyfriend would make your continued attempts to spend time with her make more sense. But no, he has to just stay because, well, I don't know. I don't hate myself enough to cook up a reason why you do this.
Seriously, I have to know what's going on here.
I really do not understand his thought process right now. He's risking getting caught and arrested, and he's having a horrible time seeing all this. Where is the logic? Where's the reason? Why is this so unjustified?
A lovey-dovey couple doesn't need to hold hands. Their hearts are already linked.
Not only was that line cringe as all fuck, but like, this really shows how he is just torturing himself with this. Like, assuming he doesn't get caught, what does he gain? The knowledge that there's a super hot guy who goes on dates with Chizuru who makes her way more happy than he ever could? Like, please give up. Spare me another 12 minutes of this crap. No? Okay, cool.
She's spending the night at his place, practically living together.
How do those two ideas link in any way, shape, or form? That's like saying I have a subscriber, I'm practically monetized. I have 1 centimeter of land, I'm practically an emperor. What is this logic?
He texted me again. This one really stinks, Kibe. Hurts more than usual this year.
Yeah, guess what? That's entirely your fault. Wish I could sympathize, but I can't say I've ever ruined my own Christmas before, so that is certainly a you problem, big man.
Who do you think you are? That's just stalking and nothing else! You and I are through! Done! Over with!
I don't see why you think her ending it with you is worse than you going to court because you know she's been trying to end it with you for a while now and keeps failing because you both make up stupid excuses for why you can't end this relationship. Why the fuck are you panicking? He doesn't know you. It's not like he'll take you past Chizuru. Worst he'll do is say hi to you while you're washing your hands.
Only that, she's just as wonderful on the inside.
Inside? Inside where?
What does beautiful on the inside mean, man? Just breathe and use your primary school English to work this out. Again, it's completely bizarre how they have him do something insanely stupid, and then they come back and he can't even do basic language skills. Why am I supposed to be relating to this at all? And this isn't funny. This isn't a good joke because it's played completely straight.
That proves it. This guy's totally plotting something.
What proves it? An out-of-context phone call that you only heard one side of? I hate to break it to you, that's not proof of anything. And especially considering your circumstances legally, you really shouldn't just be jumping in here. I mean, there's a lot of reasons he could want to have an outfit and she could be seen in public. Besides, him saying that Umi's going to show her off makes no sense as to why Umi's talking about her voice. Does the person on the other side just think it's a funny gag? Like, what is Kazuya internalizing that as? And again, this scene is made worse by the rest of the previous part of the episode. Maybe if this was at the start you could forgive it, but it's not.
I don't know what to do. I can't just walk up to them. He's her boyfriend.
Oh, that is not the reason you can't walk up to them. In and of itself, regardless of the relationship, if you have concerns, you should be able to share them. After all, that's how abusive romantic relationships get discovered. No, the problem is, you've discovered their location and the supposed information about him illegally. And so, you walking up to them is awkward because you've been fucking stalking them all day to acquire knowledge of their location. You idiot.
I won't let that guy have his way with our Mizuhara!
Are you kidding me? They had him psych himself up with this lame shit. Not once, but twice. How did it work? And why does he keep coming to the correct conclusion that he's just a client and has no business stuffing his nose into this matter, and then fanging a Yui to he is doing this for everyone she's ever helped, and yet that makes it justified to reveal that he has been stalking her all day. What does he hope to gain from this? Even if he is a scumbag, Kazuya's just as bad for, stalking them all day.
What in the world? What are you doing here?
Are you kidding me? That is easily in the top 10 worst times to freeze up. When you jump from behind a step and yelled at someone. Like, this is why you should have stayed out of it. Or at least asked the guy in the toilet instead, since then she never finds out about this, and you could potentially clear up anything with the guy, in the bathroom. And if you thought he was lying, then you could do this. But the way he set it up, he's just completely in the wrong, and yet the show's treating it like he's completely in the right.
To take you, his girlfriend, for a ride!
Why would you say that so confidently, my man? Honestly, you're making it look worse by the fact that with no evidence you concluded that they were dating, and use it as a justification for your idiotic action.
And you were talking about waiting up for him and making late night stew!
Genius! Just blatantly admit to stalking, why don't you? Zero negative consequences whatsoever, because you got the luck of rolling anime protagonists when you were born, so you can never get any, because the show doesn't understand how building off previous episodes' work, despite being serialized.
Don't say that!
It pisses me off that Chizuru gets more mad at Umi for telling Kazuya about the script when he thought that Kazuya just made an innocent mistake in terms of hearing than she does at Kazuya for literally stalking her.
You're an actress?
I don't really know why this blows his mind. I mean, you would have to have some level of acting skill to pull off all of those rental dates, so it wouldn't be much of a stretch to assume that a lot of rental girlfriends are novice actresses, right?
To conclusions like that.
Because he doesn't have the cognitive facilities to be able to look at the likelihood of an outcome and the consequences of its actions. Or the benefit.
It's wrong. I know.
It's so wrong in the fact that it is illegal, you fucking idiot. Like, of all the things to have a character say, he says the line you would say to a fucking teacher when they caught you eating in class. Like, this is supposed to show his regret, and it comes off more to me as Kazuya putting on a quick performance to win Chizuru back, which isn't how this apology is supposed to come across, especially considering what happens afterward.
Here.
This is exactly what I've talked about before, but let's go in depth. So, when Kazuya's riding high, or when he is doing absolutely nothing, Chizuru is quick to strike, to try and bring him down, which typically doesn't work, but that's fine characterization. But when Kazuya's down, when he seems close to changing his ways, close to understanding what's wrong with his actions, Chizuru always does something for him to basically make him think the horrible thing he did was okay, meaning he never has to introspect. Now let's talk about this for a minute. See, the main triangle, my name for Kazuya, Ruka, and Chizuru, all have essentially an illusion around their character. Kazuya, the illusion of an arc. Ruka, the illusion of thematic consistency. We'll get to that next episode. But Chizuru has the illusion, to put it bluntly, of a character. The problem with her is that she isn't really meant to be a character. She's more of a trophy. The championship belt. She's an endgame goal. This means that her character basically has to reflect that. So the writers need to keep framing her as the perfect girlfriend for Kazuya, so that he can keep lusting, but she can never push him too far back to where we think there isn't a chance, but they can never be too close to where we think it's inevitable. So they basically need to keep them at this perfect distance until the final movement. And so, despite the fact that you would fully expect Chizuru to be mad as fuck at him for stalking her, and for embarrassing her in front of a fellow actor who is putting in a good word for her, instead, she gives him a fucking Christmas present. Because why punish people for their actions? And the problem is, the show won't let Kazuya change his character, but Chizuru needs to stay righteous to some extent, so she gives him a small reprimand for that, and then immediately rewards him, letting him stay the way he is, letting her seem perfect to him, and let the show continue ad infinitum. Like, the reason for her not having much character, apart from being the perfect final girl for him, is that they need to keep them at a perfect distance, and this extremely poor attempt at tsundere writing, which is falling flat due to the writers having her show her nice side when she really shouldn't, and her abrasive side when she really doesn't need to.
Also, that's not even getting into the fact that anything they try to do with jealousy in the season further falls flat, such as in Season 1, Episode 7, where not only is the jealousy in that episode completely unfounded and unjustified, but it's even utterly contradicted by a stupid rant she goes on at the start. But even the jealousy in this episode that I neglected to go over, we don't know why it's occurring. We're just expected to fill in the blanks, because the show not only never flashes back to this episode because it's so incredibly fucked, it's very hard to play off of, but she never thinks in that scene about why she's staring at them, and the only other jealous moments in the show are typically brought on by Ruka, or witnessing Ruka getting something, so it doesn't really come off like a trait of hers that she likes him, simply hating Ruka, which is, you know, not what you're supposed to be doing here. But the point I'm trying to make is more that essentially, this doesn't even really count as a character trait either, which is building on the point of them needing to be at a good distance, where she's showing jealous moments toward him, so it foreshadows potential feelings for him, but they're not actually stated to be feelings of love, so therefore you can tell that it's not quite inevitable yet.
Which makes all of the characterization fall flat. And when all your characterization falls flat, what does the character even have? Which shows how out of touch the writers are with the genre. At first glance, this is just generic writing that every show does. But the difference is, this show doesn't get the point of any of these character decisions. And, I mean, the problem with this is that this format of storytelling isn't supposed to be written this way. Because in a rom-com, there is nothing to distract you from the terrible character writing. So you can't do it this bad. Either do a stalking plot if you want him to be getting a gift from her, or if you want the stalking plot, let her be mad at him for a few episodes. Don't try for this halfway house like you always do, because it makes her seem less like a person and more like just an object, something to be desired but not really contemplated. And that's not what the show wants, because they do character moments with her. So why does this episode and this season just insist on having her be nothing? But yeah, that's the nucleus of why this scene pisses me off so much, and why other moments throughout the show piss me off a similar amount. I hope we never have to go into this again. Well, this is easily the worst in the whole show. Its premise is Kazuya stalking Chizuru all day, embarrassing her in front of a fellow actor, and getting a new phone case for his amazing behavior. And aside from some Ruka stuff at the start, the dialogue is fucking horrible. The narrative tissue binding this together is horrible. None of the decisions that he makes past Ruka make any sense. And everything that is has been a problem with the show and will be a problem with the show is just dialed up to 11. Fortunately, while episode 9 is still terrible, it's at least ever so slightly better than this one, so I might not lose my sanity. Still bad though. See you next time.